Exactly. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Everybody, please let me introduce Matt Quirk.
Hey, it's me. Uh, I'm Matt Quirk. I am the founder of Get Quirk Digital Marketing Agency. And primarily, if you've been here before, you know I work with attorneys. But during this whole COVID-19 crisis and pandemic and worries from a business owner standpoint, just thought, well, hell, all the stuff I know can be applied to every industry everywhere. So why don't we just help everybody? So apologize, I'm looking off camera at all of you, but that's because I'm using my big screen to share the presentation. Just if you guys give me a thumbs up, you can see the screen there. All right, thank you, Robin, and everyone else there, all followers. Okay, cool. So this week, wanted to jump in, talk a little bit more about email marketing for the win, FTW for those millennials among us, and really just remind you that it's not about selling stuff. It's really about providing value. Oftentimes, hopefully always, when we sell something, we provide value. But during times like these, the make it or break it moment for a lot of small business owners is just staying in touch with their client base, with people who are looking for some information or even just to escape from the current situation they find themselves in, whether that is getting home from work and the dog just won't stop barking, and by home from work I mean leaving the room that they were just in their home, and just trying to change stuff. So step one to email marketing, you just got to ask for the emails, and there's all sorts of things we can do to ask for those emails. But if you don't have them, it's going to be really hard to email people if you don't have their email address. So step two, again, lead with value to the recipient. So think customer first. Don't think about what you want to sell them or what you can help them with. Think about how they're feeling about their current situation, and really lead with that empathetic view. Try and get into their heads, and we've all been there. Whether that is Dr. J, thank you for coming back, and I will not try and say your last name again because I always mess that. But for coming back, what Dr. J or David there, or Colleen, anyone, you all can think from the mental standpoint of your customers. So let's try and do that. And then lastly, yes, make an offer, because if you got a captive audience, why not try and sell them something? That's how I like to win. So it doesn't have to be a sale of a product or a service that you offer. It could literally just be an offer to learn more. Maybe that's an email newsletter sign up. Maybe that is come to a wonderful Zoom call like this, where I talk about X, Y, and Z that you might find valuable to help with problem I just talked to you about earlier. So things like that. You might be thinking, do people still read emails? Well, yes, they actually do. I went out to the interwebs and asked them, do people still read emails? And they said, yeah, funny enough they do. So I've got some stats here. I don't want to read them all off. I'll let you read those. But the short answer is it depends. And I think that we've all moved into some different mindsets around the communication styles that we like to handle best. I know we've talked, several of you before only use the phone, text message, or just calling people. I know Dr. J prefers to see people in person, and like many of us, but we can't really do that. And Zoom isn't always effective or preferred. So one of those ways to just keep people thinking about you and about the value you've provided them in the past or can provide them again in the future is through email. So why not try it? Not every industry is leveraging email as that valued channel, but there's always good options to do that. So what do you do today? Well, there's really two options. If you've got emails already, start sending people a weekly email. Share updates that you're going through, share stories that you've either experienced yourself or heard from others around the value that you can provide, the problems that you help people solve and provide solutions for. And then if you don't got emails, it's proper English, go get you some emails. That's really it. I mean, you've got a customer base. If you haven't been collecting email addresses already, then shoot them a text message. Dr. J, looking at you. Shoot them a text message, collect their email, build that email list. And if you need help building a method to capture these emails, just bring it up in your mastermind breakout. We can help you either think through some options that you have, or if you want to get in touch and have sort of a done for you, you don't want to touch all this technology stuff, then just connect with Brian or I after the mastermind, and we can definitely help you out. So with that in mind, mastermind time, y'all. I went through that really quick. So if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand, just jump in, unmute, go for it. Robin, jump right in.
Hi, thank you for this. What I want to know is there any research out there on how often is too often? Because I know for me, there are certain, like Groupon, I can't stand it. It's like, they know every time I even open my email, because boom, 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 here they come. Like, I hate it. I don't even look at their stuff. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, I want to engage and stay relevant, but I don't want to push it to the point where they're like, like, I'm sick of that, you know, and I think it's a tightrope. So I was wondering, just, do you have any research on that?
So I would say yes, there's research available. It depends on different industry. It depends on how people like to communicate. If you find that social media is a better realm to do that, I'm going to get on every 5 minutes and do a live video. Cool, that's fine. Doesn't matter as long as your audience is there and receptive to it. I would pose a question though, Robin. How many times have you unsubscribed from Groupon? I got one hand.
Like, I've done it like once, and then they got back in on me. But I have to do it kind of for market research. Like, it's somewhat of a competitor. So we're like, hey, I can't stand their service as a user. They made me so mad. I will never come back again. I don't want to be them, but I also kind of need to keep track of what they're doing. But like, and that's one way I see they barrage everyone with emails. I don't want to be that, you know?
And you don't have to, do what works best for you and works best for your client base. If you're selling to, and you're selling to schools, right? You're trying to get them on board with the service and then to customers that can go in and buy things that can then support schools. So just try and get into their mindset. And the best thing to do is ask, how often do you want to receive these emails? If you've got an audience, just ask them a question. I guarantee at least 30% of them will respond. And you can just take that and say, cool, I'll send you an email once a week, or I'll send you an email once every month. It really doesn't matter. I think just if you're not using email to leverage the opportunity in front of you to provide value to someone, not to make a sale or anything, just provide value, then you're doing yourself and your client a disservice, and nobody wants to do that. So I would say,
I like the once a week. I think the once a week is great because twice a week is way too much for me personally. And I think put an offer in there if you're not trying to sell them, but at least give them something that's worthwhile that they want to read, and like a story or something, and then maybe give them a discount or something of that nature that's relevant that will make them more worthwhile to open your email when they do see it.
Yeah. And I would advance on that idea too.
Go for it, Brian.
It comes down to not often, Robin, just how many times. It's how much information, because think about it in the context of we're an ADD culture, right? Chances are if you wrote a very, very long email, and you can ask Matt and Sarah, I am very, 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 very guilty of writing very long emails. And if you were to consider the length of your email just a little bit, thanks, Sarah Beth, is that if you think about the content that you're sending them, if you have a lot to say, it may be worth expanding over several emails if it's not time sensitive. And also, when you're sending emails, factor in, is there a time sensitivity involved in it? So if your email is simply a very short, quick, time sensitive nature, and you have already sent them a recent email, that may be okay to send them another one, because all they're doing is getting a very quick piece of information in that next email. If you have a lot to say in one email and you're trying to distill, it may be worth breaking that down to smaller bits and then having that be directed to an off email site where they can find more information. And so it's not necessarily about how many emails you send, it's about how much value you feel you have to put into each of those emails. And if you have a lot of value to send out to your customer and you feel that it's of enough value that they're going to want to read about it and that they're going to want to see a second email from you this week, they might not necessarily be put off by the email because it's the quality of what you're sending them, not so much just the fact that you're sending them an email.
And one more thing I'll add to that is the ADD culture. People want to watch video. That's why we do what we do. They'll click on a video and watch that is number one, then read and read and read because people don't read anymore, right? So if you could watch a really short, high quality, precise video that really gets your message across really quickly, that's what we do. I mean, it works. So.
Yeah. And then just the last piece I did while you were asking, Keep is a business blog out there. And one of the key things they said here is that for those who have already crafted a few emails, see, one second. Slowly increasing the frequency of your emails requires you to be mindful of your client. This is a nice way of saying pay attention. The number one reason people unsubscribe from emails is they get them too often from a single sender. A recipient who opts out of your emails may also be more likely to report you as a spammer, to completely disengage. And really, it's about kind of following the leaders in your industry, because they're obviously, if there's a leader in your industry that's emailing that many times, they're not getting enough people unsubscribing for them to feel that it's not worth it. You know, if Groupon is sending that many emails, they're not seeing enough people unsubscribe yet, and you may not do the same as them, but at least be able to consider that they're out there sending thousands and thousands of emails each day. So you may be able to follow suit in a similar fashion, if not maybe the exact fashion. Do you? But see what your industry leaders are doing.
Yeah, they do it because it works. It's annoying.
Exactly.
That's why they keep doing it.
Yeah. So. Matt, I'll pass the baton back to you, and you can kind of wrap us up here.
Yeah, definitely. Let me get back here to my screens, and I'll share this. I guess Brian put it on me. So guys, in my breakout, I'll ask the question: What's the big takeaway that you got from your breakout sessions? I'll go ahead and I'll start with Joel, just because you're on the right on my my gallery view here.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, right. I think the biggest thing that I got was just be yourself and just talk to people like you need to talk to them, but make it comfortable. I mean, don't go out of your way to try to create something. Does that make sense? I mean, just kind of do what you do and let that spiral over into the best way to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe go into that thing that you're planning on doing, because that'll make a lot more sense to people, I think, in the context of that statement.
Oh, I was thinking about doing like an online, like a weekly interview series with just people surrounded by that either I know that work within the same industry I do, like realtors, so like movers, stagers, and all that kind of stuff, and just doing like a weekly, just a fun chat with people, nothing serious, because that's not me. We're to kind of like introduce ourselves to everybody and have some fun, and it's really about personalities on who you work with, I think, and so like that kind of really come across.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well,
All right.
we had a breakout room, 3 breakout rooms, just so you know, Matt.
Yes. So I think Colleen, you probably likely led the other one that Brian didn't lead, because he was back here in the main session. So I'll leave it to you, and you can dictate what either what the takeaway was, or pass the baton and put somebody in the spotlight here and make them talk. That's always fun.
Well, I'd like to do a little of both if I could.
Of course.
I learned about what a LinkedIn pod was, and I had never heard of that. And I don't think anybody else in our breakout room had heard of it. So Eric, if we could put Eric back on screen, he was giving us the quick lowdown on what that means. And it's about sharing content. So Eric, would you mind telling them how that works, and the gal that we were talking about, Shay?
Yeah, so her name is Shay Rowbottom. She's like the #1 LinkedIn influencer, creator, video maker. But so a pod essentially is a group of business individuals in different industries that have 2 messaging platforms going at the same time. One for just messages, the other one for content. And what you do is you agree to post content regularly, and then you agree to like and comment on anybody else in your pod's content, because LinkedIn is the only platform where third-degree connections can see your content. If that makes sense. So like if I engage with Brian's content, my network can see Brian's content, and then that helps the algorithm and boost your content up. And right now, LinkedIn is probably the #1 platform for organic reach.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because Facebook is not.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long it's going to last for. That's the thing. It's like once all the marketers figure it out, and then it kind of gets killed.
Yeah. You know, Facebook, actually, I had a meeting this week, and Facebook they called them growth pods, where you essentially start a chat message with a group of business owners, and then you tag in that group chat when you posted something, and that keys in the other group members to go about and like and share that piece of content. So it seems that's a new kind of organic growth opportunity that a lot of these platforms are promoting.
Yeah, I don't know if there's so much promoting it, but that's how a lot of the big Instagram influencers actually got big back.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, and then we had room number 3 was led by Cindy, Jessica, Robin, and Tamiza, and I think that whoever was in that, I was in that meeting briefly, but then I started my second breakout.
No one's jumping in.
Robin?
Sorry, I know I tend to talk a lot. I tried not to, but also because Cindy's new to the group, I really tried. So Cindy's an at-home tax accountant, and I'm like, Colleen, you need to help her. She's struggling, A, with isolation, and B, trying to figure out how to stay organized in her own home office, because this is working from home is new. And I'm like, you are not alone. We're all struggling with the same thing, you know, so being able to connect to each other. And then with Dr. J, and talking about anxiety and acupuncture, and I'm like, hey, you know what? You have an audience for kids. Like, this is a new outlet for you, because as a parent, like, my anxiety is transferring onto my kids, and I see it, and I want a way to address that with them. And when I'm like, I'm not the best person to help them with that, you know? And also, because I never had tools when I was little to learn how to manage this stuff, I got to a point where I needed to start seeking help. And if I can start young and give them the tools to help manage these emotions, especially now, and like, I'll tell you, from a school's perspective, the school is sending, oh, here's a resource, there's a resource, but not in an organized fashion. So parents are like, can't even accept that help, you know? So Jessica could be a really good resource for anybody out there with kids, or anybody just struggling for themselves who need like a way for normalcy. She shared some really good tips, like do something you're used to doing before all of this, if it even just is simply getting in your car and driving to your office, because that can help reset your body to say, hey, calm down. This is normal. It's familiar. Things are going to be okay. So, you know, and Tamiza's got some awesome stuff for Mother's Day. Any fathers out there, anybody who needs to send some love to their mom, hit her up. She's got some awesome packages, and you can save yourself. If you haven't even thought about it yet, it's this weekend. So
that is awesome. Thank you so much, Robin.
yes, of course.
I keep seeing a lot of heads nod, like, yes, we're all going through stress and none of us know how to manage it. It's wonderful.
Totally.
No, that's perfect. So did everybody get a chance to go through? Oh man, I'm spotlighted. I'm all big. Just put it on gallery. Nobody likes my face.
Put it back on gallery there. Yes.
Yeah. So like, you know, everyone's going through it. I think one of the things that I do to combat stress is do more work, but I do it in the sense of like, I just love doing stuff like this. I love talking to people. So challenge each of you to find that thing that you love doing with your clients and just double down on that thing. And if you can turn it into either something that is free or to continue to provide value outside of a paid engagement, right now is a great time to do that, because you're basically just building rapport and building trust. So anything more that you can add to that, I think would be magical, and highly encourage you to do that. I did have a question for Deborah, because the last time you were on, which I don't remember if that was last week or not, but I was. She's shaking her head. I can see it. How's the chaos for you?
I was talking about that in our little breakout room. It's getting better. I'm learning to manage it a little bit more and having less expectations of myself. That's part of it, I think. When you go from having people help you do stuff and then all of a sudden you're doing everything, you can't have the same expectations of yourself. So I've been time blocking more, which is helpful for me. Basically on the calendar for a specific time and trying to focus on getting it done within that time frame. And if it doesn't, then it gets moved to a different spot. But it's not so chaotic. It's not so, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's like, okay, this is what's on my calendar to do right now. This is what I'm going to try to get accomplished right now.
That's awesome. Sounds like someone's watching a Western in the background there.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Well, good. I'm glad that things are sort of settling down, or at least you're managing it better. That's good. So one thing before we kind of end things off, just want to throw out, we are looking for more sponsors just to come in and highlight, and so we can give each one of you kind of that spotlight feature at the start to share more value with the community here, and then obviously through our own promotions. But you know, if you want to do that and you want to just talk about your business stuff, hit Brian or I up. You can, I don't know, Brian will probably type that in the chat, the email to send to. But we are looking for those promotional opportunities, and not a paid engagement. We just want to focus on somebody. So feel free, Dr. J, Andrew, David, Deborah, Joel, you know, like everyone here, Tamiza, your treats would be perfect. So, you know, feel free to jump in and let us help promote your business. What am I leaving out here, Brian? I know I'm missing something.
Just to follow up, Matt talked about email marketing. We are, Local Links is a Constant Contact affiliate, and we are going to be adding more and more affiliate programs with regards to things like CRMs and other kind of direct software that we feel businesses just must simply have. We are adding Bamit to the platform, and we'll be launching our Power Partner platform. I can't say for sure because I don't want to say a specific date without our developers, because then they'll shoot me for wanting to do that to them. But we will be launching our Power Partner platform here within hopefully within the next month or so. And we'll be also, you know, doing more of these co-sponsored events, and we're planning to keep these going even after we reemerge, because I think they're a great opportunity for people maybe not to have to sit on the freeway and get somewhere, but still join a networking meeting from the comfort of their desk.
Yes, definitely.
And look, Cindy, I think Cindy had a question. So if Cindy, you wanted to ask questions, by all means, let us know.
So Matt and Brian, how's the best way to recommend somebody to the group then?
Question.
Go. Matt, do you want to field that?
You dive in. You started.
Okay. So the best way to recommend them, and Cindy, just to clarify, you mean for them to come and join one of these on Thursdays?
Yes.
Okay. So the best way to do that is that we're actually going to be sending out an email, and you can forward along one of our emails to them, and we'll invite everyone to the next meeting. That email will be sent out tomorrow, and you can always just forward that email to anyone within your your sphere. You can also just send them directly to adapt.locallinks.online, where they can register for, I believe we have up to the next 4 weeks scheduled out on there. Yep. Okay. I'm getting a head nod from Sarah Beth. And then the other way is to invite them to our social channels. We'd really love to get a large social media following with business owners. We're thinking we're going to be starting a private group as well for businesses to kind of do a little off Zoom masterminding So we'll be starting a mastermind group there, and that'll be a private group that we'll want people to be a owner or manager of a group. So we're not just going to let anyone with any reason in there, and we really want to keep that focused on business. But those are probably the top 3 ways to invite someone to participate in the Local Links mastermind group.
And what platform is that going to be on?
The group will be through Facebook.
Okay.
But everything else is as it is here, where it's either you register through the website at adapt.locallinks.online, or you can also, I believe we've posted the group on a couple different events like Eventbrite and stuff like that, but you still have to go and register from Eventbrite to the adapt.locallinks.online.
Yeah, and Cindy, thank you, 1, for coming, and 2, for queuing up this perfect opportunity to leave you all with an ask. Please bring more people with you next week. Reach out to your networks and bring either other people, other agents, even clients. If you have clients that are business owners, we'd love to expand this group and be able to help more people every week. So it really doesn't do us a disservice by getting more people in. It's just spreading the love a little bit, and then widening the net that we can help each other out. The more people we get, obviously, the bigger this mastermind can be, and the more value we can all provide to each other. So highly encourage you, and ask as a takeaway, if you can bring 1 or 2 or 5 or 20 people with you next week, be ambitious. I'd love that.
Exactly. Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes,
thank you, everybody.
Guys. Really appreciate your time. And we'll send that recap out, and we'll post that blog on locallinks.online. So you can link people to it, you can share it, and then I think one of us asked last week, I can't remember who it was, about the recording. We do have the recordings available, so we're working on getting a system up to share those recordings with everybody. So if you missed anything,
that will most likely be up by. That'll most likely be up, Matt, once we get the platform up. We'll have a section on the platform where people can watch videos from the mastermind events, but it's just not up quite yet.
Yes, we are working on it.
Yep.
But thank you all, and we will see you next week.
Awesome.
Good luck out
Thank
there.
you, everybody.
Go make some money.
Be safe.
Provide some value to people. And make money. I mean, just make money is always a good thing to leave people with. Just go make some money. It's fine. It's easy, right?
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yes.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you, Robin.
Robin.
Really, really good to see you, and Tamiza. Thank you guys for joining again.